Hello everyone, welcome to another episode of Spring of Code, where we are onboarding some really nice open source projects and organizations. And today we have with us Shivai and Ashit from Soda Foundation. And yes, Shivai and Ashit, if you can introduce yourself a bit.
Hey, go ahead, Shivai.
Okay. So hi everyone, I'm Shivai. You must have already seen me on a couple of different episodes on Code for Cause, and I'm really excited to be presenting and be back again. So today we are basically representing the Soda Foundation, and I have been part of the community for Soda Foundation ever since my first ever experience of attending an open source event that was in the Linux Open Source Summit in Europe, where I first found out about the Solar Foundation, and ever since then I have really loved the concept. And today, that is why we'll be presenting for that. Apart from that, I graduated last year from my undergrad degree in computer science and have been part of different open source organizations like Solar Foundation, Layer 5, that is part of the CNCF, and a couple of other organizations where I've been contributing on a regular basis. And I've been previously a MLH fellow and a Google Source Code mentor for Jenkins and CNCF. Yeah, so that's about myself. Over to you, Ashit.
Yeah, thanks, Shivai and Abhishek. So, hi everyone, myself Ashit Kumar. Just to introduce, I am a learner, very new to all the new world of technologies. But yeah, overall, I have somewhere around 15 years of experience. I have been working in the industry with different companies like Symantec, you might have heard, then Veritas Technologies and Huawei India. And right now, I am one of the maintainer of Soda Foundation projects, as well as I serve as the Soda India Outreach Committee. And yeah, so that is pretty much like I do code. I keep my hands dirty while coding, and I learn from you guys always, like watching some of the videos and YouTube channels and all. So that is how I am growing myself. And yeah, Soda Foundation, when we talk about that, this is one of the unique foundation, if you see. And it is something like you might be seeing the CNCF, which is something for the foundation for the compute part. So Soda Foundation is something on the storage part. And yeah, I'll give you some introduction about the Soda Foundation. Maybe me and Siva will talk about that. And wherever you have any questions, you can just ping me. I may be able to answer, I may not be able to answer, but yeah, it's all about that.
Yeah, thanks again for joining, both of you. And really glad that you are here. They both are the pro in their fields. Like, they're really fully experienced, and they have been a part of a lot of programs and have been through a lot of mentorship opportunities. And they're really doing great work in their field, and they're really motivating us. And they're really kind and great, doing great in the field. So, what's the thought behind the Soda Foundation? Today we are talking about Soda Foundation especially. So what's the thought behind it?
Okay, so yeah, so that's a nice question, because anything that we are doing, that must have a thought behind that. That must be having a proper use case why we are doing this. Even while we are brushing our teeth, there is a use case for that we want to keep ourself hygiene and healthy, right? So the same thing like Soda Foundation, if you see Soda Foundation, the thought was that if you see right now, there are different data management companies, there are different storage vendors, there are different cloud providers, right? Now, when we go to the end users, they say that, okay, I have say, basically you might be knowing that Dell EMC or IBM, they have their own storage, right? So different companies have their own storage, different cloud providers have their own stack, right? Now, sometimes it feels like we are into the silos, right? The vendor silos. Dell EMC, a company might have different vendors, but Dell EMC will try to have their own stack over there. AWS, if they are cloud subscribers, they will be trying, they will be using AWS. But suppose there is a multi-vendor shop, right? Where they want to use the multiple cloud providers or multiple storage vendors. Then the data management, the storage management, the cloud management, all those burdens comes in between. And then you have to stick with one of the vendors, right? Those vendors can be your DL EMC, those vendors can be your anything, it can be IBM or AWS, Azure, Google. Now, so that is the thought that started coming up. And there's a set of people from the industry. Like we had people from IBM, Intel, Toyota, NTT, Yahoo Japan, Huawei. Everyone came together and said that why to like keep this vendor silos? Why can't we break that? And that is where they thought of this idea of a OpenSGS project. So we all started with an OpenSGS project, and that OpenSGS project, it was simply like a couple of projects we started. That was catering to your northbound to southbound. Northbound, if you know that, the compute, and the southbound is your storage, right? That connectivity, a vendor silo, vendor agnostic, you can say that connectivity we created some of the project. Then some projects were created for multi-cloud, different cloud providers and all for catering to their use cases. Then as it grew, when the OpenSGS was accepted by multiple companies, multiple end users started showing the interest, then people started thinking that why we are restricting ourselves to some of the particular project, because there can be multiple projects which they want to open source, right? Now, when they want to open source, OpenSGS is already open source, and there might be multiple companies who want to create, say, for example, multi-cloud. You cannot say that I have one project. In an open source world, there can be multiple projects, something coming from the Zenko, something coming from Red Hat Nova or IBM Cloud Pak, anything, right? There they started that, okay, we'll form a foundation. And as OpenSGS was always under Linux Foundation also suggested that why don't you go for a foundation for data management? So that is where this thought came out, that we will create a data management foundation, and that is we call it as a SODA. That is SODA is a Open Data Autonomy Foundation. Again, this is a recursion, you can say. S for SODA, and SODA is SODA Open. So that's yeah. Go ahead, Shiva.
No, please continue.
No. So that's all the thought came. Shiva, you can add like how.
Yeah. So just to also give a background on why is this important, because we know that today all the different systems are moving towards a cloud presence. So all the legacy systems, and specifically that was driven quite a lot because of the pandemic, because everyone was forced to be working virtually. So today, I think 95% of the companies are moving from legacy systems to a cloud-based storage, right? So earlier we used to have these large servers on the site itself, on the company side, and they used to manage all the different applications. Today we are seeing a transfer of that kind of an architecture, and we also also see microservices based architecture coming into the picture. So microservices basically means breaking down your entire application into different services and using those services, hosting those services with their own data storage, and communicating between all of these different services to create your application. So the rise of cloud computing, the rise of this microservices based architecture as compared to a monolithic architecture was responsible for the creation and the advent of different type of cloud service providers. So as Ashit said that there are all of these different cloud service providers. All of them have their own infrastructure and backend that they have. All of them have their unique services that are out there. So for any kind of an open source project which have different kind of services, they might be using one service from some from AWS. For example, let's say AWS recognition service is really great for computer vision. So they might be using that for storing their computer vision applications. Let's say they're using Google GCP for their production ready pods. So GCP has really good services for Docker containers, right? Containerization. So they might be having their containers hosted on GCP. So this way there can be multiple services that they might be using. So this is sort of unify all of them together and sort of look at how this data management and how your different services or databases are being stored. So that storage management, that all comes under the SODA Foundation. So basically the SODA Foundation is having a lot of different projects that are pertaining to these storage management, let's say services that we are using from various clouds, all of that, being able to unify that into one single platform. Those are some of the common projects and applications that come under the SODA Foundation. As Ashit said, that it is being incubated under the Linux Foundation as well. So that is sort of the background.
Hey,
Yeah.
bang on, Shweta. So that's very precisely and very aptly described what the purpose
Yeah,
is. Yeah,
that's great. So you just mentioned about there are a lot of projects under the Soda Foundation itself, and so can you walk us through some of the important projects or some of the major projects that Soda Foundation has, and if students can get to know about the uh, project structure and what they're gonna do with the projects and how can they get started with those,
definitely,
some kind
definitely.
of
So
demo.
can I share my screen?
Yeah,
If you
yeah,
allow
you
me.
can share. So it's
Yeah, just a minute. I'll just. You can see my screen, right?
No, it's not been added yet into the stream. I guess.
Just a minute, just a minute. Yeah, I'll just do that. Oh, sorry. Let me finish there.
So I can share it. I've shared it.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, yeah, yeah. Just a minute. I'll share. I need to share another screen. Yeah, just a
Sorry.
minute.
But yeah, like basically just to give a just precursor to what we'll be undergoing, like the projects themselves, as we mentioned, are in relation to all these. So having like multi-cloud support or creating
You can
performance
see my presentation.
dashboards. Yeah.
Yeah, thanks. We
You
can
can
see.
see my. Yeah. Okay. So I'll just quickly glance through these slides. There are lots of slides, but for the sake of this meeting, I'll glance through some of the slides. And Shiva, you can pitch in wherever you want. That will be good. Okay. So Soda Foundation is like the mission is that one data framework. So one data framework. When we talk about, Shiva and I was talking earlier, right? That we want to consolidate all the data management thing into a single platform from where different data can be, different types of data can be managed. And just a little bit of history, I was talking that OpenSDS was the project where different companies like Dell EMC, Fujitsu, Hitachi came, and we started somewhere around 2017, 16. We started, and right now we have multiple companies. If you see on the top, there is Linux Foundation, who under which the Soda Foundation is another foundation for data management, and there are different companies. You can find those logos who are supporting us. They are as the premium members, general members, and supporters. There are different companies. Now you can. This is a little old slide. You can find Microsoft and even CCICI and other companies part of this. Intel and all. Okay. Uh, okay. So maybe I'll skip through this and I'll come to this. Yeah. So as we talk, like when we're talking about what was the thought behind this Soda Foundation, is that if you see there are different fragmented pieces for backup, replication. If you know, like replication is nothing but replicating your data from one site to another site, or within the site between different devices or different nodes. Then archiving, we all know that some of the data we need to archive the way we do, like some of the photos that we have on our Google Photos, we archive it so that later we can retrieve it, but it won't consume much of the storage cost for us. So those archiving, then orchestrating all these tasks, different tasks you want, right? You want to suppose say create one of the compute instance in GCP cloud, and then when that instance is created, you want to upload some of the objects into that. So there are different steps, you can orchestrate them. Just giving a very basic example of that. Then there are different stories. So on the bottom top side, if you see, there are different compute environments, that is we call it as a NBP. There is cloud native, then edge devices, then cloud, big data, AIML, different possibilities that we can do with the data, the IoT devices. And on the southbound, on the bottom, if you see, there are edge storage, the storage. So anything, like for example, on when we write some program that gets written on the hard disk of your laptop, right? So that is your storage, that is your on-premise storage. Nowadays you get some online platform for coding, right? Those online platform keep their code on some of the servers. That server may reside in your cloud storage also, or that whatever online coding platform you are getting, they might have their own on-premise storage. So these type of things, like different storages are there. Now you need to connect all these applications, the data management part, with your northbound, that is on the top, with your southbound. It's simply like writing your code and storing it somewhere, and in between you want to optimize that code to when it is getting written. So you might have multiple files getting written, right? But you want to deduplicate it. So those type of things you want at the data management. Just like stop me wherever you have any questions. So these type of things are there, the soda foundation. Now we talked about a very minute very small thing about like this coding platform and all. When you go in the industry, you may see that different companies have petabytes and zettabytes of data. Now those data are getting written continuously from, say for example, you might be heard about this automated car, right? And so a self-driven car and all, they are generating lots of data. Every second they are generating gbs and tvs of data, right? Now those data needs to be stored somewhere. So those type, and when they are getting stored, they need to be optimized. For example, right now, say suppose you are in Delhi, right? Now you are in say Noida, and you are going to Gurgaon, or you are in you are going to some other place. When your car is moving, automated car is moving, at that time you are generating that data, but the data accessibility is also one of the thing. If the data, suppose you reach Gurgaon and you don't have the data what you generated in Noida, then it's a waste of whatever the data you have collected, right? So the data availability is one of the major concerns. So those things we cater through the data management thing. Now, what if you see the next diagram? Okay, have I stopped sharing?
It's still
Oh,
shared. Still shared.
okay. Yeah, sorry. So if you see now, the soda comes in between those pieces, right? Those circle wheels. There is soda coming between. So copy management or any security, tiering, archiving, soda connects them. So that is where the value proposition lies, in the data mobility, some standardization, optimizing those data, making it highly scalable, in the sense like if your data is there, if your server, so for example, if you are working, right? Working, or if you are studying anywhere, right? You have your laptop which has got, say, just 4 GB of RAM, right? When you are using some IDE platform like, say, Eclipse or something, you will face the issue that your 4 GB RAM is not sufficient for handling the Eclipse environment, and when you are doing some Java coding or all, or your Golang environment IDE and all that you are using, then you get the need of increasing the RAM to, say, 8 GB, 16 GB or something, right? So your system, whatever the environment or your infrastructure you are given, that should be highly scalable. Scalable in the sense like scalable horizontally as well as vertically. So that is where soda one data framework brings into the picture. Okay, so this is don't get confused about like the diagram. This looks very minute and lots of pieces over there, but to summarize whatever we are talking about, the northbound and the southbound. On the southbound, if you see on the lower part, there is an enterprise storage that is given by IBM, Hitachi, NetApp, Dell EMC, Sony, Huawei, or anyways, as well as some of the open storage you might be seeing. So MinIO, if you are into the open source, or Ceph is very commonly known open source storage. Whenever you are using some of the software-defined storage solutions, you will hear about Ceph. MinIO is something for the object storage. So there are different storages that we connect, and in between, if you see, all the connectivity goes through the REST API layer. The first just below the soda that is written, there is a REST API. So we connect it through the REST API, a common API platform. I'll again come back to this when I say common API platform. So that I'll come back. But if you see, there are different solutions provided by different pieces. That is the data store, protection, governance, analytics using like the data using. You can use it for any type of analytics using the TensorFlow or whatever analytics platform you want, right? Then there is a storage dock. I'll come to that. Okay. So now the main, what Abhishek, you are asking about, that different programs and all that we have, right?
Yeah,
So if you see, there is different programs, and we again, this is because of lack of time I could not get the latest slide, but if you say there are projects where someone can incubate their projects. So for example, say Abhishek and Shiva, you create one project, say XYZ, and you say that it caters to the AI/ML use case of heterogeneous storage. Heterogeneous storage in the sense like storage can be your block, file, or object, any storage. Now you say that this type of project I have created, and you come over to Soda Foundation. If they find the value with the one data framework, we can incubate that project into Soda Foundation, where you get the platform of Soda Foundation, where different end users are there, different supporters are there. For example, you two have developed this. Now we have a developer community which shows interest. Then you will get more developers for that. So that is where people come for incubating their project. Then we have a developer boot camp. So this is a unique thing for Soda Foundation as of now. But yeah, again, this is something like Linux Foundation also. We are onto that Linux Foundation guidelines only, the bootcamp and all, where we'll have some developers. We already have some of the developers who have joined the community. We form a group. We give them some basic understanding of the open source world, GitHub and all. And the projects are in different languages like Go, Python, and Java or TypeScript and anything, JavaScript. So we give them basic understanding of that and some of the basic issues that we start assigning them. And that is where they start developing. So from the community, I think multiple developers has come forward, and so very recent. Like today morning, I was discussing with one of the developer who is also a student right now with one of the university in Delhi, and he has. If any one of you are into DevOps and all, you might be knowing Travis, right? Travis, yeah. Travis CI, right? So we had some of the issues. So that developer has started migrating our project from Travis to GitHub Actions. So GitHub Actions are like inline CI provided by GitHub itself. So he has started migrating. We helped him understanding the project and what the Travis was doing earlier. And then eventually he is trying to, so already he has merged one of the pull requests for one of the project GitHub Actions, and we'll expand it across different projects. That is there. Then there are other programs for the vendors, users, and community. Community again. Okay, so vendors and users are for the different storage providers or the companies or all. Users are like, for the example, Yahoo Japan and Toyota, then Fujitsu. These all are the end users as of now for us. Sony is one of the users. So with the upcoming release, we are getting to one of the use case of them. So we give them some of the POCs, they like it, then they ask for the like community developed features and all. Now the bottom part, if you see, there is a community. So this is a Soda ambassador. So now when the students start contributing, for example, Shiva, if you all know, Shiva has been with Soda Foundation. He has been contributing and he has been helping for developing this community and outreaching to different people. Now he is sort of an ambassador for us. So he is promoting Soda Foundation to everyone. Where there is a both, like the ambassador gets some of the like recognition and some of the rewards from Soda Foundation as well as the Linux Foundation, as well as the whoever he goes to, right? They get the, for example, they come to me, I'm a student, then CI comes to me and says that, okay, you can do some of the branding as well as some of the development and all. So I'll get that exposure. My code will be into GitHub. My code will be used by some of the end users like Yahoo Japan, Toyota, Sony, Intel, and IBM. So that is where the different programs are. Any questions so far based upon this?
Like we have
okay,
some
so
questions.
Yeah, go ahead, please go ahead.
So there's students are asking like how students can contribute in it. Like it's already a big number of tech stacks that is discussed. So how students can contribute in it, like someone who is
Great.
beginner.
Yeah. So I'll come to that. So very quickly to Abhishek, your earlier question, I'll just go through the projects, which all projects are there, what type of projects are there, and then I'll come to how to contribute. I have a different like document for that, which I can.
That's great.
Share.
Thanks.
Okay. Just hold on with that question. I'll come back to that. Okay, so there are different projects, and projects are related to, as Shiva was talking, there are some projects which is related to multi-cloud for different data migration and data management and all. There is a multi-cloud project. Then there are API controller and doc. So I am talking these three in continuation is API controller and doc. Basically, doc is something like about the shipping dock, right? Where different ships come. Now, for us, there are different storage providers like IBM, EMC, NetApp, or someone, or even the open source storage providers. They become the ship for us. They come over here to the dock. They park their drivers. They plug in their drivers, and those drivers are used seamlessly to the end user in the northbound through this API. So there is a unified API. So if I say so you might be knowing the REST APIs, right? So when I say my server HTTPS colon x 1.2.3.4 slash give me 2 GB LAN. That is just take an example. That is an API. Now this give me 2 GB LAN, and underlying that there may be I'm a company which uses storage from IBM as well as from NetApp. Now I can provision the storage either from the NetApp device or from the IBM device. So, when you are coming to the API, you are simply saying that give me 2 GB disk. I don't know. You don't know about the underlying devices. So that is where the transparency comes into picture. So the API will go to the dock internally, but to the end user it will be a unified API. Whether it gives it from the IBM, whether it gives from the EMC, or whether it gives from the Minio, it depends upon the internal implementation, but the API remains the same. So that's why API becomes one of the important piece for connecting to the northbound. And controller is nothing but some of the database book management and all. Then there is dashboard. So all these things where the API, REST APIs are exposed now, as you see, like the TensorFlow or any of the Prometheus and all, they might be exposing some of the APIs, but they have their own dashboard also. Dashboard is nothing but the UI, right? Similarly, telemetry. Telemetry is nothing but for analytics, data analytics, AI, ML, and all. So this telemetry, we are segregating it into different projects. They might be like some of the data analytics projects we have and all. So I'll give you the link of the Soda Foundation GitHub repo where you can see that where all these projects are there. Yeah. So these are the different projects. Sorry.
No, I was saying like we can post it in the chat.
Yes. I'll do that. Sure. So there are different projects. I won't go into the ecosystem project, native system project. That is something like when you start getting into Soda Foundation. So these are very high level for the end users and the partners we have. But yeah, there are some of the projects which is developed completely by Soda Foundation, and there are some of the projects which different companies has donated it. As I was saying that Shiva and Abhishek has developed some of the projects, and they are trying to incubate it into Soda Foundation. So that is an external project. Now coming back, the most important thing that whenever say I'm a developer and now I want to contribute to some of the project, then now the first thing that comes in to everyone is that, okay, there are two things. First of all, what is the technology and what is the language? Say, for example, if I am a Python pro, I'll say that, okay, I want something to develop in Python, and I want to do some of the data science project related, which is done in using Python language. That is a major concern, right? When you are coming, say, some of you might be knowing the, say, Angular, or some of you might be knowing the React and all, right? So you will say that, okay, I am very comfortable with. Now, where can I go? So then you reach out to Soda Foundation. They will obviously they will point it to dashboard. Now, someone is Golang programmer, they can go to Multicloud or Doc, or project that there is a Delphin project. That is something like Dolphin, coming out of Dolphin. You see Dolphin everywhere in Soda Foundation. So Delphin is a completely written in Python. There is an orchestration project which is completely written in Python. There are some of the projects which are written in Java. So you will find different languages that we use. Yeah, but primarily we use Golang, Python, and JavaScript.
Yeah.
That is, and some of the shell programming, obviously, shell programming is used for installation and all. Yeah, so architecture you want me to go into, because this will be something like very I have already covered a
Yeah,
little bit. Maybe I'll go.
we can share this slide. Like,
Okay, so yes, yes, definitely. I'll share it. So as I was talking that there are different companies. So if you know this, China Unicom is a great, very big telecom provider. They have developed one of the projects, EG, and that is nothing but enhanced safe object storage, and they have contributed it to the Soda Foundation. So I will talk about that. Now there are different projects like Skeleti, Maya Data, OpenEVS. They are coming to and Linux store by Linbit. So any one of you who are working on Linux and have started on Linux kernel programming and all, you will always find DRVD related. So this is something developed by Linbit. DRVD is nothing but a disk replication block device. So that is you will any kernel developer, Linux kernel developer will find it. And there are some projects by Intel that has been contributed. Okay, so I won't go. Okay, so just some of the use cases that we are catering as we are talking, the AWS to different clouds. So multi-cloud project. Then we have some of the projects related to automated data lifecycle. This is automated car getting the data on the edge, and those data are getting stored on the primary storage. When they get it like little old and not frequently used, they move it to secondary storage and then finally to the archival storage. And also this is replicated. This data can be replicated to different sites. So as I was talking about like going from Noida to Gurgaon, in between say Lajpat Nagar comes, you will store that data in that data center of the Lajpat Nagar. So that is something like data life cycle we maintain. Yeah, so I'll just skip through. Yeah, there are different companies who are supporting us. So if you'll see from different regions, different geographies, different companies, there are different people who are part of this. We have multiple events. I think Shiva and me have been attending multiple events over here in Soda Foundation. So these are some of the events. I won't go into this. Yeah. Okay. So I'll come to how to contribute to Soda. This is one of the questions, right? Before moving to
yes.
this, any questions so far?
So there's my personal question.
Yeah.
Like I,
Yeah.
I,
Yeah.
I
Please go
really,
on.
yeah, I really want to contribute to Soda Foundation. I'm really excited about Linux and kernel programming, but I have not started it yet, right? So how can we as a beginner, like, what's the proper roadmap? Like, we have seen like there under Soda Foundation we have different number of projects, but there should be something basic that every project should require. Every project must be requiring. So what's the
Okay.
proper roadmap so that I can follow to contribute to the Soda Foundation with some meaningful contribution, of course.
Okay, okay. So first of all, Abhishek, if you talk about the kernel development, obviously, like right now, data management, if we talk about that is more at the application layer, a layer
Application.
above the kernel, right? So that is the application. Now, again, as I said that there are different companies or partners who are coming to Soda Foundation. For example, Linbit is a partner or member for Soda Foundation. They have different project. So through Soda Foundation, you can connect to the Linux Linbit community and Linbit people, and over there you can start contributing to their Linux kernel development for device drivers and all. So that is one part. Now coming to Soda Foundation, if you want to contribute, every project based upon your interest. So for example, you are interested in anomaly detection, right? Anomaly detection for the data. So you have collected a data. Based upon that, you want to detect the anomalies based upon different algorithms. Maybe it is a simple algorithm or some of the complex algorithms based upon your linearity and all, right? So those type of things, if you are interested, you can come to a project called anomaly detection in Soda Foundation. I'll go to the GitHub. I'll show you where all that. And every project you will find. So in the open source, whichever project you will go, right, you will find some of the best way is to just go to the documentation of that project. Then if you go into the issues of that project, right, you will
Good
see
first.
some of the projects. Yeah, good first issue and my first contribution or help needed or something, right? So those type of issues you can pick. So I'll come to that. I'll show you, Abhishek. So that will be more clear to you. So there is a quick contributing to Soda Foundation if you want. There, so okay. So these links are again old. I need to update this. This is still pointing to OpenSDS. I need to update this. So sodafoundation.io is the place you can join the Slack community Slack channel. I'll show you that. Then okay, maybe I'll point to this docs dot. Okay, so first of all, go to the documentation where you can find different features and how to start. So if you see Soda getting started, quick start, how you can start and install, and looking into the what Soda Foundation actually does. Then you have documentation that you can refer to, and for different releases. Then we have most important is this one. Yeah. Uh, is it dark mode okay for so GitHub that you can, or you want me to make
It's
it
okay, I
lighter?
guess. No,
Yeah,
it's
okay. So
okay
if
for
you
me. I
go
don't know
where,
about the audience.
yeah, I'll just increase the font. I think a little bit. Yeah, if you go to the Soda Foundation, you will find the information about this. So first of all, go to this Soda. You will find a what exactly Soda does, where the different links for that. Okay, so docs.sodafoundation.io. Then how to join the community, you will find that. So best place is that join the Slack channel. There start bombarding with the questions, whatever you have. That is what I suggest to every student and every new developer. Whenever so just to add, like I have been teaching in some of the universities for last 10-12 years. Now when I go to them, I simply tell them that just join the Slack channel and start posting your questions. So that is how I suggest them. Now if you come over here, there are different projects. You can find different projects: API, Doc, Delphin, Multicloud, NBP. Then I talked about this anomaly detection, right? So anomaly detection is one of the project which is written in Python. You will find that which language it is using, right? Then if you say that, okay, now I know that there are projects, there are languages and all, but what about the documentation? For example, you go to the Multicloud, you can find the documentation over here. There are different documentation over here. Now if you want to start with that, right, you want to contribute and all, right? No, sorry, you want to contribute, then go to examples. There are some of the conf files are there which you can refer. I think there is one documentation part also. I'll point to that. I'll find it out. So there are different mechanism through which you can just start this. Now if you go to the issues, right, so there are multiple issues. Now if I want to figure out that which all I can contribute to, right, so you can see that there will be some good first issue and start my contribution. So those, if you see, there will be multiple issues created for that. Okay, okay. Just so you can pick one of those issues and start looking into that. If you need, now the only thing is that it's not about like just picking the issues and sitting over it, right? So you need some help for that. So you can simply go to the Slack channel. Sorry, you can go to the Slack channel and tell, simply post a question that, okay, I'm working on this issue, can someone help me with this? There are different people in the community who will suggest you how to approach and how to take it forward. So there are few people who are always there to help you on the Slack channel. So just start doing that. Does that make sense, Abhishek, and others who had these questions?
Yeah, it absolutely makes sense. It's really insightful, and
Yeah.
thanks for
Yeah, and
walking through
one
the
of the
details.
most important things that is pretty much common to any kind of an open source project is that have a deeper understanding of what exactly is the project all about, and before you start contributing, try to install. So that is why, as Ashit said, that you can go to the docs.solarfoundation.io and go through the installation guide, right? That will enable you
Right.
to set up the project. Now, as Ashit said, that there are certain things to keep in mind, is that it's very centered towards Go, Kubernetes, Docker. So those are some of the languages or like tech stack that you should be aware of to enable you to easily set it up and understand what's like the process flow like. And once you have set up, you have used the project, then you can go and start looking at like some of the open issues. And if you have any doubts, again, like Slack community is actually quite active. There are like weekly community calls as well that take place right? So over there, like generally the community who are contributing are showcasing what they have been working on, and yeah, so those are some of the guidelines that are definitely very helpful when choosing a project. And as Ashit said that the major projects that are there are written in Go, Python. A couple of them, like the dashboard has the sort of dashboard has been written in TypeScript. So depending on your language of choice, you can either go for one of the projects, or if there's a certain project that you like, you can contribute to that as well. So I personally really love the multi-cloud one, because again, the idea behind multi-cloud is that you have these different type of vendors, and as you had already mentioned that, for example, let's say if you were to transfer your data from, or you were to migrate from one cloud platform to another cloud platform, so it could be from AWS to GCP. Currently, like for example, if you had to do that, it's very difficult, because as we said that internally they're having completely different frameworks. So what multi-cloud does, like as a Soda Foundation project, what it does is that basically what we can do is that basically what happens is that there is one unified API that is created, and whatever kind of services that you are using. So for example, we are using some kind of storage functionality, we are using some kind of an API that is, let's say, S3 functionality, or like storage functionalities. Those all can be controlled using one single API, because usually what we had to do was that normally we would have to write different APIs for all of the different services that we are using from different cloud platforms, and we have to write different endpoints for those APIs. But with the Soda Foundation multi-cloud, it provides you one unified API. With that single API, it can give you the access and ability to basically control different cloud functions, and from different cloud platforms. So this is a project that I really loved, and it makes a lot of sense that instead of writing, let's say, 5 different functions or 5 different APIs, now you can control that with just one single API. Right, that is the unified API that is provided by multi-cloud. So that is like one of the great projects that we have. And like Ashish, if you want to probably continue. I think Ashish, you're in mute.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, so as Shiva was saying, that multi-cloud is mostly like one of the interesting project, because whenever we are talking nowadays, the cloud is one of the buzzword. And when you go deeper into that, you will realize that the cloud is not like a small world or a small stack that you will learn in a few days, right? So the deeper you go, the more understanding you will have, the more opportunities you'll have. That's why the multi-cloud project lives everyone. But yeah, definitely, if you have some other thing, like you want to work on the UI side, on the I'll say that if you are really interested in making the things better, documentation is also one of the project where you can say that, okay, see, when I am speaking, I might be speaking a plain English. When someone wants to make it like a more fascinating, more buzzwords, or more good words they want to incorporate from the dictionary and all, right? So that makes reading more interesting, as well as understanding more interesting, right? So that is where one of the project you can contribute. There are multiple things. Someone might be completely into DevOps, right? They might be, as we were talking, right? They might be interested in GitHub, exploring GitHub Actions, Travis, Jenkins, and all. So we are still into that CI/CD. We have lot of tasks to do. So anyone can come over there.
Yeah, yeah, and it really becomes important, like if you are a beginner, you see the project from a beginner's perspective. Like you can add something of your choice, like if you find some bugs, or if you get some into troubles, like installing, when you are installing or testing some things, so you can definitely add to that documentation. That will help other developers to get started. And with different patches, there always a chance to there chance to some documentation changes, like we somewhere forget something. So documentation is also really important thing. And if someone is beginner, like they don't know the exact tech stack and how they can contribute to the code base itself, they could start with the documentation too, right?
True. So just to an example, I'll give you that documentation. We had multiple. So when you write documentation, it can be pages, right? So sometime back I saw that one of the documentation there was maintained. You know, the like when in a cloud for object storage you have buckets, right? So someone had written, so it's just a typo. T and R are together, right, on your keyboard. So QWERTY RT is there. So that he has written Bucker, and no one noticed it for some time. But see, that is the impact. When someone is reading that, they will say that, okay, this documentation is not good. There is some typos or spelling mistakes, right? So that is where you make an impact. So even the documentation is very important.
Yeah, totally agree. So you just mentioned about the various prerequisites. Like if you are contributing to multi-cloud, you should be well aware of Docker, Kubernetes, or some part of the DevOps. And different, if you want to contribute to some kernel things, you should have a prior understanding of kernel programming, a little bit of that. So is there some
Agree.
good learning resources? Like if you can share some good learning resources where the students can start learning these things.
Yeah. Yeah, very good point. So we have this student academia program, right? In that, what we do is that it's not about like we completely expose the students to the projects. We have different. We have a 1 week or 2 week program where we tell them about the GitHub. We give them different links. We provide them with the basic understanding of Linux. So if you see, me and our team has created some of the videos on Linux, very basic, like what ls command does, what ll you can do for you, what those type of commands. So someone coming from usually nowadays most of the people are working on the Windows side, right? They are very new to Linux, right? They don't know that mkdir and sorry, change dir and cd, what is the difference between Linux and all. So those basic thing we tell them, and then they when they come into that, the GitHub, how to contribute, how to raise your PR, how to merge the request, and on how the version control and everything works, we tell them, and then eventually they will come to the project contribution. So that is where we start with the academia program.
Okay, so you just mentioned about academia programs. So how can a student like me or someone else can join that?
Yeah, so very simple. You can simply join the Slack channel and tell that, okay, I am a student and I want to join the academia program or the developer program. That you
Bootcamp.
can tell. Yeah, boot camp and all, right? And there is a different Slack channel. You will be getting added into that, and there are so see, when you join any Slack channel, right? There is a generic channel where different set of peoples are there. Different people from different horizons are coming there. Someone might be completely into the like industry perspective or the program management perspective. Someone might be developer. But when you are exposed to a selected channel like the student academy or student program channel, there you will get to talk about the very basic things. So that is where we redirect it to, and there we start assigning, giving them the tasks, and tracking it. So we have a community stand up. I think Shiva is already a part of that,
Yeah.
right? Community stand up. That is like every Tuesday and Thursday we have this stand up. You'll learn when you go in the industry, where different set of people come together and they give their status update. And if they have any issues, they will talk together. So we have a Zoom channel where we join over there. So that is there.
Like yeah, I'm now used to do the stand-ups in the fellowship
Yeah,
program.
so that's why I'm saying. So yeah, so but that is in a plain language, it is something like when you are playing football, right? Before the match starts, you have a like gathering, right? Where everyone discusses that, okay, what is the strategy for today, what I will be doing, what he'll be doing, and how we'll tackle we'll have different tackling and all, right? Who will be the defender, who will be the goalkeeper, and all those things we discuss. And again, between the like halfway, you discuss that, okay, what went wrong in our first half and what went good. So the same thing happens in the stand up also, in a very simple and blunt, I'll say that that is the thing.
Yes. Great. So do we have some other questions? Like yeah, so one question was how can I join the Slack channel?
Yeah, so I'll provide you the link. So maybe Shiva, you can share those links of
Yeah,
the.
yeah, I'll do that. So basically, if you
Hello?
just go to sodafoundation.io, we can basically, I'll just provide that in the.
Yeah. So there is a link where you can simply click and join the Slack channel. So Slack has web-based as well as your application-based. You
Yeah,
can
can you
put it
provide
on your
this?
mobile also.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Provide in
Yeah.
the private chat.
Yeah. Okay. I'll just wait. Yeah. So they can just go to the sodafoundation.io and there are different links and they can join the IRC channel and Slack channel, and there is a full guide of how to contribute to Soda Foundation there too, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So you can get started. And as I said, join the Slack. You will get, as even Shivai was saying, that community stand up. I remember that there, if you join the community stand up, there are like 50% of the new developers or the students. New developers, you see that from Delhi, Gurgaon, Chandigarh, there are multiple students. Even from Kerala and all, some of the universities, the students are there. They have joined. They are so initially they will be listening some completely. They will be in the listening mode. Eventually, they will understand and they will start contributing. And we have seen some of the good inputs from them. Very good inputs I have seen.
Yeah, that's awesome. So I guess
Are
yeah.
there
So
any
I guess
other questions?
yeah. So there are no new questions, and the whole demo was so insightful that people are already out of their doubts.
Okay. Good
That's
to
great.
know. Yeah.
But yeah, like just to also give, I think I'm not sure if we covered, but basically just to gain a very high level highlight, as Ashit said, that basically the entire system is divided into three major parts. So we have already covered the multi-cloud, and then we covered about Delphin, that is like the infrastructure manager that helps you sort of, when you have different types of backends. And as we said that, we like Soda basically allows you to have sort of a plug and play feature where more and more number of backends can, be plugged into the ecosystem for Soda. And that allows you to sort of, transfer like resources, a migration of data or migration of services from one of those kind of storage backends to another one, right? And so the Delphin is one of the, I think, one of the newer projects that we have in Solar Foundation that helps you sort of like do that kind of alert management and things like looking at the performance metrics, because a lot of times these kind of things are quite important, because usually the companies, they have limited amount of resources, so they want to make sure that the performance and everything is like those performance criteria, those are met. So this like the Delphin specifically is into that. And then as Ashit said, that the dashboard is specifically one single client for the Soda API that is providing us the infrastructure for having different type of storage backends. And like these are basically the services that we usually use. So for example, we might be having different types of like if we just take an example of a machine learning based application. So you can have different API services like TensorFlow, PyTorch. And then for example, if you want to store your data, whatever you're generating, in different type of backends. So it could be like a MongoDB, it could be a DynamoDB, it could be Apache Cassandra, right? So basically, when you have these different type of flows possible, this is where like Soda helps you by using just a single API. You don't need to be looking at and sort of playing around with different APIs and different services that are there. So that entire platform unification is what Soda is doing in its core.
That's
Yeah.
awesome.
Correct. Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. So we do have one more question. I guess it's especially for Shiva. Like, uh, this is some out of context question for the Soda Foundation webinar, but if you want to answer, do you think AI is going to be the engineering branch in coming future?
So, I mean, it's already there as an specific engineering branch in your master's, right? So, like, there are dedicated, and I mean, it's so vast that you have specific PhD programs only like in computer vision or in, natural language processing or in neural sciences. So, itself, like, AI is so vast, and there are a lot of different universities that have provided like even undergrad degrees in BTech in computer science, but with specialization in AI. So AI is like one of those fields that it is so vast and wide that you can probably do like a complete PhD of 7 years and still not, have covered one specific area of AI. So it's definitely possible.
Right, right. And I think already some of the universities have started their some of the master's degree and
Yeah.
PhDs are already done in, as you talked, right, NLP, data science, and
Yeah.
image processing and all. So that is there already.
Yes, yes. As you mentioned, like AI is too huge, like very vast field to explore, and you can just
Yeah.
learn more and for more and more time, and you're still a beginner in that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
you
completely.
just think that AI just two letters are there, but actually when you go into that, of its
Yeah.
own AI. So that is one.
Yes. So, yeah, I think we don't have any more questions, and we already wanted to be the part of Soda Foundation. Like, I'm really super excited to be the part of it, and thank you once again for joining. Like, it was a really very insightful session, and it was a full of demos, and the slides was really very good, I would say, and
And
the
yeah,
whole
like
of the
one thing,
yeah.
and one thing to sort of differentiate what differentiates sodas compared to other, again, like there's no, like, when it comes to open source, there's no comparison, because each and every different open source project, they are doing something great for the community. But just saying that, as compared to, let's say, some of the other places where the direct comparison is that, okay, you read the docs, you join the mailing lists, or you join the Slack or Gitter or whatever public channels that they have, and you ask your doubts and you start contributing. But Soda Foundation, what it differs is that, as Ashit spoke about, the mentorship programs, the ambassador programs, that allows you to, start from scratch, and you will be given tutorials on those topics. And I think, Ashit, that if you want to probably also speak about some of the mentorship sessions that are upcoming and are in the underways, where like communities will be
Right, right.
given training.
Right, right. Yeah. So good point. Sure, I missed that. So we
Yeah.
have already we are going to start. The Soda Foundation is going to start mentorship program, where selected students will be mentored, and they will be getting some of the rewards and certificate and recognition directly from Linux Foundation and Soda Foundation. So anything you get from Linux Foundation, that matters, right?
Yeah.
And Soda Foundation is part of that. So mentorship, eventually what will happen is that there are both things. So you will get some rewards and recognition, you will get some insight into like how to get into the industry thing, right? So these are the so see one thing that Shiva was, when he was talking, one thing is that Soda Foundation is something not very old, right? Now it's like the growing community. When you are into the growing community, there are lots of help that you can get. If there is something that is stabilized so for example, right now, if you raise one PR in Linux, right, Linux kernel, if you raise one PR, it will go hell lot of reviews, hell lot of like time it will take for different people to respond, because there are different maintainers. Linux kernel is not a small thing, right? So there are maintainers who will approve it, and it may take some time. You need some help, you will have to like go into that. I'm into this GCC, if you know GCC community, right? So
Yeah.
I am part of that. A single point that someone raises, it goes through lots of discussion. So and people have to wait. In Soda Foundation, the advantage you get is that people are there to directly help you, rather than simply putting their comments. They will help you. So that is one of the advantages. That is where the mentorship also you get the advantage, right? So you can join the so mentorship program will be officially announcing very soon, that it will be on the website of Soda Foundation. But yes, if you are interested, you can just show your interest, and we need like interested people, interested developers, interested students who are really passionate about it.
Yeah.
And one
And
more thing is that whenever we are talking about open source, right? Open source is like a key for your career. Trust me. I realized it late in my career, but yeah, I am really lucky to get into the open source thing.
Yeah,
And
we
you will
can't
realize
agree
it
more.
because yeah, you whatever you code, that is in place in front of everyone. They can simply click on a link, github.com/Shivai Lamba, right? And they can see whatever Shivai has done till now, right?
yeah.
So that is how you get it.
Yeah, and also one
Yeah,
special
sure.
announcement, Ashit, that the Soda Virtual Conf will be taking place in July on like SodaCon, that is called on July 13th and
Exactly.
14th, and like we are also accepting like proposals, like if someone is interested in submitting a talk. But like these kind of conferences are also a really great way to get insights and connect with and network with people who are there in the industry.
Right. So on this sodafoundation.io, you can find the link for that. What SodaCon 2021. You can
Yeah.
see my screen, right? So
Yeah.
this one is the screen. You can just simply submit your proposal over here, and if you get your CFP gets selected, you get a chance to speak in front of like say thousands of people from different universities and different geographies. So that is a cool opportunity, right?
Yeah.
Awesome opportunity.
But
Yeah.
since it's also like part of the Linux Foundation, like a lot of times you'll find Soda Foundation at the open source summits from Linux Foundation or like the KubeCon and all. So it's part of that cloud native. Since Kunal and himself has been like advocating a lot about cloud and Kubernetes and all, so it's directly in relation with that.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, so
Any
that
more
was
questions?
that's so someone has a problem with joining Slack, like says invalid
Oh,
domain.
okay. Ah, is it?
Some more technical problem. No problem.
No. Okay. So I'll check this because right now the link is open.
Okay, sorry. Should I add it?
You can try.
Yeah.
No, that's fine. You can try sometime back. If it is not, then I can give you my email ID. You can or me or Shivai, anyone you can
Yeah.
connect to, and
Okay, it's awesome. Like someone is asking like how can we get a T-shirt with dolphin printed on the.
yeah, you can see Shivai. You can get hold of him.
Yeah.
Okay, so basically, there are different events that
Yeah.
and right now we are in virtual mode. Even though even in the virtual mode, if you like the speakers and attendees are getting some of the t-shirts and all, and yeah, come to Soda Foundation. There are lots of goodies, not only t-shirts.
So
Awesome.
actually,
Awesome.
I'll show like basically this was during the Kubernetes Forum 2020. So I got this Amazon Alexa via
Yeah. Great.
the via the raffle that they had. So it's really great on that perspective as well.
So lots of goodies. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's great.
right.
But overall, since like it's a super young community, so everyone like Ashit, then there are a lot of different people who are such they have such amount of experience, but they're so friendly and so open queries that it makes it a really wonderful community. Although like for a lot of people, the work that is going on, like that is with regards to cloud storage, data automation, those might sound a bit more tricky because usually those require some amount of knowledge behind how cloud systems work, how what are like inter cloud, hybrid cloud systems, all those like storage mechanisms, how all those work. But once you get a hang of those, like it becomes very easy to understand the architecture and what's going on behind the projects.
Right. And I believe that we learn together. We don't work
Yeah.
together. We learn together. That is what my belief is.
Yeah. So one question: is Soda Foundation participating in GSoC this year?
No, it's not.
No.
Okay. Okay. So probably it will be the part of next year, but still, GSoC should not be something that you should, you know, deciding to be the for.
Yeah.
It should not be something like if an organization is not taking part in GSoC, so you should not participate in that. That really should not be the reason. GSoC is only for upholding the open source organizations and a kind of promoting it, and that's all it is, and like nothing more than that. And open source still that on the top of the GSoC, so that should not be the reason to contribute or not to contribute inside any open source organization, I believe.
Right.
Yeah.
And eventually, you guys will be the ambassador for GSoC from Soda Foundation.
Yeah.
You
Yeah, so
contribute
join
and
early,
you.
right?
Yes.
Yeah, great. So that was a really super insightful session, and thank you once again for joining. Like it was really very helpful, and we just discussed a lot more about Linux, multi-cloud, Soda Foundation, and everything in whole. So thank you once again for joining, and
Hey.
yeah. So we don't have any other question.
Hey, thanks a
right?
lot. Thanks a lot, Abhishek,
Yeah,
Shivai, and everyone. Thanks a lot. It was really,
Thank you so
really
much.
good. Nice talking to you all. Thanks a lot.
yeah. So any closing remarks from your Shiva side, Shiva?
Yeah, so from my side, it's just that join the community, and if you are interested in cloud and just want to learn a new technology, like again, all the community members are so helpful that you'll definitely learn a thing or two, right? And getting the right kind of it's the most important thing is that if you're interested in something, you start that then and there, right? And to get the right kind of mentorship is the most important. And when you have people who are out there with so much experience and ready to help you out, you should definitely be part of such kind of groups, right? Rather than just going over and wasting your time to find the right kind of resources. These are great ways to just find that perfect path that you want to follow for any kind of thing that you're working on. So that's pretty much from my side.
Yeah,
Hey,
that's
thanks.
great.
Thanks.
So
Really.
thank you once again for joining. So we will be taking a leave now, and thanks for taking out time for this broadcast. And thank you very much, everyone, for
Thank you.
Hey,
joining.
thanks a lot, everyone. Have a nice day. Have a nice day.
Thank
Have
you.
a nice day.
Thanks a lot.
Thank
Bye
you.
bye. Bye bye.
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 Bye bye.